Hello ninjas, it's Tim here. I'm here today to talk to you about the fascinating, well, it's not fascinating, but it's extremely important topic of data breaches, GDPR, and updated security processes here at Exposure Ninja. Now, I'm going to have to read some notes here. So if my eyes are looking over there, it's because that's where my notes are. It's not because I'm suspicious and potentially devious. Although, ironically, following a data breach, I'm usually labelled as those things. So, first up, what is considered a data breach? Well, a data breach is when personal data about a client or their business or another ninja is leaked. Leaking meaning it's exposed to other people or it's lost. So we hold various different types of data here at Exposure Ninja, from low risk stuff like clients' email addresses and phone numbers. That's stuff that you could find anywhere online. We have medium risk stuff. So this might be the stuff, for example, included in the Ninja worksheet, stuff that's not publicly accessible. So it might be names of people, personal things like mobile numbers and stuff like that. Or things that are included in reports, or we have high risk stuff. So this would be things like website logins, Google ad accounts. So stuff that could potentially lead to identity theft, reputational damage, and costs to the company, right? So if somebody got their website login and deleted their website, or put some big horrendous slogan on the front that caused them loads of negative publicity. So that's high risk data. So the sorts of things that you might need to inform, or sorts of things that you would need to inform your manager of, so types of data breach would be things like if a client is accidentally sent data about another client or their business, so things like reporting data, links to Google Drive documents, all that type of stuff. So if you accidentally do that, inform your manager. And I just want to say at this point as well that these things happen, and every day we're making hundreds of decisions. We're using like hundreds or thousands of micro actions, and if any of them go slightly wrong, it can lead to a data breach. So when we say inform your manager, we're not saying inform your manager so they can beat your ass for being stupid. These things happen. Like, I make these mistakes, everyone makes these mistakes, they happen. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. It's about informing a manager so that we can take the right processes and approaches to make sure that we're complying with rules and any potential downsides are mitigated. So it's always best to be completely honest as soon as possible. Don't try to hide things. We've seen with the most recent data breach we've had, the clients do, on the whole, really appreciate transparency, and it's our legal obligation to be as transparent as possible. So always be honest, always tell the full story, and don't worry, unless the mistake is like beyond stupid and you do it all the time, the likelihood is you're not going to get in any trouble for making a data breach. Okay, these things happen. If it's an honest mistake, you're all good. Okay, so data breaches that you would let your manager know of: if a client is accidentally sent data about another client, if a client's data is leaked or accessed by someone who's unauthorized, so someone outside Exposure Ninja, such as another client, or if you see someone weird accessing a Ninja worksheet or a Google Doc, that sort of thing, you should report that. Or if you think you've accidentally shared a password or login with someone who's not an employee of the client's business, then those would be situations where you'd report that. Now, if there is a data breach, ninjas must immediately report this data breach to your manager, to Charlie, and to I. And this needs to be done ASAP. The reason it needs to be done ASAP is because we have a duty to report this breach to the ICO, Information Commissioner's Office, if it's sufficiently serious, within 72 hours. So we need to be fairly quick about this. If you're not sure if something is a breach, report it to your manager anyway. Report it to me, report it to Charlie, like whoever you need to, so that we can run a risk assessment and see if we think it is a breach, if it does count as a breach. Mistakes happen, they're embarrassing, of course, and you're likely to be mortified if you cause a big breach, but the repercussions to us could be a lot worse if we don't report it or if we're not immediately honest about it. It's better to suffer the temporary embarrassment then, whatever, we fall foul of some horrendous thing or a client's business is really impacted. So that's what is considered a data breach and what to do if there is a data breach. Basically, report. If in doubt, report. And then thirdly, what will we do at Exposure Ninja? So GDPR means that we've got to report certain types of personal data breach to the relevant supervisory authority, which is the ICO. We have to do this within 72 hours of becoming aware of the breach. We will run a risk assessment ourselves to decide whether there is significant potential risk to the people whose data has been leaked. Okay, if there's not significant risk to them, we don't need to report that to the ICO. We just need to keep internal records of it, and our policy says we will then contact clients and let them know exactly what's happened. If there is significant risk to the persons whose data has been breached or leaked, then we will report it to the ICA. We will also always report the breach to the individuals involved. Whether or not we consider it to be serious, we will always be completely honest and completely transparent as soon as possible, as soon as we know the extent of it. We'll then provide advice to help clients protect themselves for any effects, if relevant, and we'll keep an internal record. We'll write up a debriefing document, which we'll send to people as well. Okay, so updates to our internal data security. We need to ensure at Exposure Ninja that our clients' and Ninja's data is kept securely to mitigate the risks of a data breach. We've updated some of our processes recently to make sure that we're storing data as securely as possible. So here are some things that you can do and that you need to be aware of. So some of these are changes, some of these are just reinforcing existing policies. Stick with me, there's a few of them. So Slack and Teamwork. You should never share login info in Slack channels or in Teamwork. So things like clients' website logins. The reason for this is we can't then control who's seeing those. So data should be shared on a need-to-know basis. And that means things like Ninja worksheets, which is where we would actually store login info. That needs to be shared on a need-to-know, Ninja worksheets are not where we store login info. LastPass is where we store login info, and we can then give access on a need-to-know basis and retract it if that client is no longer a client. So website, Google Analytics, AdWords logins should be stored via LastPass and shared via Ninjas in that way. If you're Northern and you don't know what LastPass is, it's sometimes called LastPass. Other logins from clients, things like social media, that should be done via LastPass where possible, or provided to Exposure Ninja through our own account. So like if you want to share Facebook login, if a client wants to share a Facebook login, what they shouldn't do is send us their personal Facebook username and password. They should instead give our EN accounts access, right? So that's Slack and Teamwork. The other thing is change your passwords regularly in accordance with the password change task assigned to you in Teamwork. It recurs every 3 months. It's boring and important, like a lot of things in life once you're an adult. So that's Slack and Teamwork. Google Drive. All the information that we store about a client must be stored in their client folder on Google Drive. This is really important because then if a client requests that we delete their data, we just delete the folder and everything in it, right? Ninjas should not store data about clients in separate folders outside of the client folder or on your personal Google Drive or on your computer, right? On your computer is awful. On your personal Google Drive is really not ideal either. So store it in the client folder always. Client passwords should not be written in Google Docs, and access settings should always be set to anyone at Exposure Ninja with the link can view or edit and never change to anyone. Okay, sometimes for things like Kickstart questionnaire, you might need to have view, edit anyone who has the link, but then as soon as the client has filled that in, you lock that down or you give access to their Gmail account instead, right? Cool. And clients should be given access to the relevant docs with their specific email address. That's Google Drive. SEO, some quick things for you. We ask clients to give us access to the CMS, and this is stored via LastPass. We ask clients to give us access to Google Analytics. This is through our own GA accounts, and we're going to be asking clients to create a directories at their website email address and give us access to that for Google My Business and directory listings. Pay-per-click. So PPC team will create a Gmail account for clients to access their Google Ads account if we set it up. We ask clients, we ask clients to change their passwords, and we cannot access this Gmail account. And then we have access via the PPC master account only. Okay, so they set up a Gmail account. We give access to that Gmail account. We only have access through RMCC. Okay. Dev. We ask clients to give us access to their CMS and cPanel logins, and this is stored in LastPass. The client has to create a login for us using dev@exposureninja.com. We don't take charge of their existing logins. So if they want to send us their username and password, create a login for us, dev@exposureninja.com, and then we can add it to LastPass. We ask clients to give us access to Google Analytics and create their own GA account for new websites. Website FTP details and database details should only be accessible by Tim, Charlie, Brittany, Emma, and Carthy. No idea what I am going to do with that, but those people only. So it's only need to know basics, basically. And then client email accounts. When clients have an email account with us, they get given a doc which contains their email account details. This doc is provided as a copy and includes instructions asking them to reset their passwords. We then delete the doc after 1 month, so we don't hold client email address passwords. Finally, data hygiene. So if you see data which you think is incorrectly stored, like you go into a worksheet and there's like passwords and all sorts of stuff in there, or you see a Google Drive access level which doesn't seem right, report it to your manager so they can take the relevant action to get it shut down if needs be, or removed, or whatever needs to happen. Okay, you've got to be on it. And if it looks weird, if it doesn't look particularly secure, then you've got to be on it, and we need you to be on it because whoever can't see everything. Okay, cool. So one final thing then, when a client cancels, they will then be given the option for us to continue to hold their data, to hold only their EN generated data, things like keywords, articles that we've written, or for us to delete all of their data. And our support team will organize this accordingly. There is a data protection, data privacy and protection policy link somewhere. Thank you for sticking with this. Data breaches and all that stuff is not fun, but it helps if we're all vigilant. It's a bit like the war. Feel like there should be some kind of data breach slogan. I think, if anything, the data breach slogan would be, I don't know. If in doubt, report it. Right? If in doubt, report it to your manager. That would be a good data breach slogan. So thank you. Thank you for doing awesome work. And yeah, lots of love. See you soon.